products. It's nice that we've got some natural products, but how does that relate to the person you're talking to? Are they interested in the environment? Do they care about going green? Do they care about not having toxins in their supplements? Are they concerned about having the best health that they possibly can? You have to find out what their need is. Now, I'm not saying spend 9 months finding out what their need is, folks. If you're inviting them to a grand opening, you should know them a little bit. We're not talking about dragging somebody off the street to your grand opening. We're talking about your warm market, the people that you know. Your hot market is really the best place to start. But you want people that are your closest friends and family that you're inviting. So Michael, when you were first doing your very first lunch that I didn't come to, how many people showed up at that?
I think I had 6 or 7.
And how did you invite to that?
Just by calling and sort of saying, hey, I have this new business that's like support.
So how did you feel about that whole process?
Week. Yeah.
Okay, and so what did you learn through some of the coaching of how to invite?
That it's a personal touch. You have to communicate on the phone. You got to reach them, and you have to say, "Can I count on you?" And just be authentic.
We had a great turnout when we were at home at Tampa last, didn't we?
We did. Yes, we did. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you had some really awesome business professionals as well as friends there.
Correct. Yes.
And they were all there to
support.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what did you learn about how to invite to your grand opening? That you're going to ask people to support you, and you're going to say, can I count on you to be there? I mean, those are pretty simple phrases, right? Something we can learn very easily. So can I count on you to be there? And I need your support. I'd love for you to be there to support me. I've done relaunches personally over the years. I did a relaunch in Perrysburg, Ohio. Now, I've been in business how long? I don't know how long. Since 1993, we've been using the products we started building in 2000, so for 15 years, and so I still did a relaunch in Perrysburg to introduce my neighbors and friends to the products. And I told them, I said, I'm having a relaunch here because I just moved here, and I'd love to share with you what I'm doing. Can I count on you to be there? I use the same phrasing that I teach and train here, and people want to support you. They want to learn what you're doing. So if I can make a recommendation, is MJ still here? Yes. If I can make a recommendation, please, 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 don't text, don't use Facebook to invite to your grand openings or to your events or to your meetings. Facebook and texting really is a reach out method so that you can get in front of those people personally. Now you heard MJ say it, we've been saying it with the teaching and training, and I know Tony and Debbie teach and train, and I know Becky and Chris teach and train. It is really, really important to grab a hold of this. Now I know that we have a lot of millennials in the business, and my advice is exactly the same to them. And I'm saying right here to all of us is that we have to have that personal connection. When we're just spamming things and we're just throwing things out there, we are not going to have the engagement and we're not going to have people show up. So do you guys want to have people at your grand openings and at your launches?
Yes.
Yes. Do we want to have people at these events? Yes. Thank you. Yes, we do. And so in order to have people at those events, we have to invite in a proper way. Now, what are some other challenges with contacting and inviting? What types of questions do you guys have about contacting and inviting?
How do you get them to answer the phone?
How do you get them to answer the phone?
Right.
Well, my recommendation is that you, I'm using that word too much. I'm not using it just because MJ is in the room. I do this a lot. I really do recommend that you leave a one-liner. You know, hey Leslie, it's Jennifer. Just give me a quick call back. I'm not going to leave a long message. You know, Leslie, it's Jennifer. I'm having this grand opening. I'd love for you to come. Can I count on you to be there? It's going to be great. Let me tell you all about the products. That's what we sometimes do, don't we? We get into this long dissertation. We think, oh, well, of course they're going to call me back because I told them why I was calling. They're more likely to call because of the curiosity. When you just throw something out there and say, hey, it's Jennifer, give me a quick call back. I'd love to run something by you. Will you call me back? 9 times out of 10, those phone calls get returned. And so I would say that that's the best way to do it. Do not leave a long message. Okay? What are some other things about contacting and inviting? I do actually have a couple of minutes here. I wasn't sure after Chris was talking if I was going to have a whole lot of time.
I ended on time.
You did end on time, Chris. You were fabulous. Not that I didn't trust you to end on time. I think that contacting and inviting, that ability to go out there and have those one-liners to engage people in conversation, most of the people in this room, I'm going to guess, are not comfortable doing that. Yes, Nina. What is it? When somebody says to you, what is it? Well, what do you say, Nina? Hang on. Oh, she didn't like that, did she? You've been in this long enough, Nina, you know what to say. So what is it?
I really would love to share it with you, but I can't do it justice over.
Well, do I have to get together with you?
Well, I'd love to get together with you, Jennifer.
I'm really busy.
It won't take that much. It would feel really bad if I wasn't able to share it with you.
How long is it gonna take?
45 minutes?
It's really long.
Are you really happy where you're at today? Well, actually,
No.
I'm really sorry to hear about that. Do you think you have 45 minutes that I can share something that might change that?
Well, I work 4 jobs. And, you know, we just had a death in the family and the dog's got to go to the vet because the dog has a leg problem. You know, I got to get the dog to the vet for that. So, can you send me some information?
I really can. I would love to be able to get together with you. And I'm really sorry if we can't right now. When would it work for you?
Well, you know, after I get the dog back from the vet and we get through this brief process, then maybe I could carve out some time. You want to call me back?
I would love to call you back. How long do you think it's going to take you? Get through your grief.
You know, great people get to hear, Nina.
You know what? Having coffee with you, though, I think would be awesome. Just to help to see you and to hug you and to help you maybe through some of that as well. And maybe we can talk about it just a little bit.
I could do coffee. I could probably find time for coffee.
I would love to do coffee with you. When would it work for you? Awesome. Your dog is okay.
You know the excuses people give you. Good grief. You know, the dog, the cat, the bird. I got the bird defeathered or something, you know. You don't do that, do you? You probably don't think that or bird. That's probably what you do. People, they give a laundry list of excuses. And what you saw Nina do is Nina just didn't give up. And she kept asking questions, and then she asked me, am I happy where I'm at, right? But then I didn't really want to commit, which is what a lot of people do. So you have to help tap into what their why is or what's not working for them, and then you have a solution for them. There's no perfect answer here, folks. There's not a single person in this room that's going to have the perfect thing to say. It's just about engaging people and asking questions and just talking to them. I think we have time if we do a really fast one for one more. Who else? Oh, good. Yes, thank you.
Well, let's say they say they're going to come and then cancel the last minute, or that's
Talking to the mic, so we can hear the question.
Okay, so I can't actually come to your event after all. I'm sorry. I sent you that in a text.
What happened?
And that's the bird defeathered.
That's really,
I had the wings clipped.
that's really a shame. In text. That's really too bad. I'd still like to get together with you. I'm asking you.
How about when would be a good time? Sorry this didn't work out, but when would be a good time for you? You should just asking them, when can we get together? I'm really sorry that the bird has to be clipped. Defeathering birds now, and it's not even a thing to do. But really, you're just asking when would be a good time. So if somebody can't come to your event or somebody can't meet with you, and I teach this and train this also, when somebody says, no, thank you, I can't make that night, I've got, you know, birds or whatever, when is a good time for me to share it with you? When is a good time for me to share it with you? Not can I share it with you or can we ever get together, but when is a good time? And Nina asked me that question, when's a good time? So I had to give her an answer. So even though she sort of locked me into a little bit of a corner, I still went out for coffee with her, right? And that's what most people, they'll give you the time if you just be persistent, okay? So thank you, Chris, for letting me have a little bit of time here. Now, our next speaker is a little bit nervous, okay? So we're all gonna give her lots and lots of love. This is a new executive coordinator in the organization, and what her story is just so fantastic. You are going to get lots and lots of nuggets from her if you listen, okay? Because she was a director for many years, and she's gonna share all the details of this story. She was a director for many years and could not build a team, couldn't see building a team, couldn't understand building a team. And then she got it. And the minute she got it, she went from a director to an executive coordinator within a couple of months. So I want you to give a big round of applause for new executive coordinator, Mary Ann Hansen. Hi. Okay, I'm very nervous right now, and my legs are shaking like crazy. So, and I have my notes. So, thank you, Jennifer, for giving me this opportunity to share my faculty here, and though my legs are shaking, like you said, I'm not used to speaking to a large group of amazing people. I hope that my sharing my Shackley journey will somehow inspire, motivate you to move closer forward with your dreams. My journey started 8 years ago, but it wasn't until last year, 2014, that my team started growing fast and started reaping the fruits of our labor. I'll be sharing what happened, the changes I made, and how I got from being director to executive coordinator, qualified for carbon trip in less than a year. My Shackley story started when I saw Roger and Sloan Burnett on the Oprah show. They were talking about the Glacken kit. Right after the show, I bought the kit, tried it, and instantly fell in love with it. As I was reading the brochure that came with the kit, I read about the income opportunity. I got very excited, and so I called Shackley and signed up as a distributor. From the Glacken products, I started taking the Biomizer. It was just launched that year. And so, because I used to suffer from intense headache, the M word, the one that's, yes. I would suffer, usually suffer like every day. So doing minor things, even especially driving, was getting very, very hard. Taking the Biolizer for 2 weeks, I noticed that my headaches were gone. And my husband, Brett, actually noticed it too because I wasn't complaining as much. I still do, but not as much. So before Shackley, I thought my family, I thought we were healthy. I thought, we were doing the right things. I was cooking. We really go out. I cook a lot. And so I thought my family was healthy. I found out that we were not. And from Shackley, I found out that the cause of my headaches, allergies, and possible difficult pregnancies. I have two children, boy and a girl, 14 and 11. And from the moment I found out I was pregnant, I could not even drink water. I lost so much weight. I was probably in the hospital most of the time I was pregnant because I was just throwing up a lot. Now I joke with my friends, since starting with Shackley, that's when we started getting healthier. Now I joke with my friends and family that if I had known Shackley before I got pregnant, definitely we will have more than the children. We are completely Shackleyized. I share Shackley products with people I know, and I am very excited to help women and families be healthy and enjoy the benefits of owning a business and working from home. When I signed up as a distributor, I had many challenges and excuses. I was very unteachable, thinking that my background will be handy. I'm a licensed dentist, and I had a successful business practice before I got married. I'm used to talking to people and finding out what's bothering them in dental terms. I was able to help them to the best of my ability. My uplines, Becky and Chris Cash, actually told me that my background would come in handy. But I did tell Becky that I would only call her if and when I have questions. I thought I could do it on my own. I was so wrong and mistaken. I was very proud. I was reluctant to change because I thought I would be very good at it on my own.
From the moment I signed up as a distributor, I wanted to learn everything. I did too well. In fact, for 7 years, I was a director. And I did go to senior director, but it didn't last. I was back to being a director, even though my PV months were high. I would sometimes do a 5,000 PV per month and sometimes higher. My volume was steady, but my team was not growing because I was not growing. I was getting frustrated, yet I was working very hard, or so I thought. There were many times I thought about quitting, but I couldn't get myself to do it. I would sometimes call Becky and say, Becky, I need a sabbatical for a month or two, but couldn't still. Every time I would say that to her, my PV would just be high. And so that's like, okay. So Becky would just say, okay, you can take a sabbatical again. So I was blaming everything. I was blaming the economy, my customers, people who told me that they would join but never did, that everyone was at fault except myself. Until last year, 2014, is when I changed. I was on the call with Jennifer, and something she said made sense to me. She probably told me that many times, but at that particular time, I listened and got it. She said, in order for you to grow, your team has to grow. You need to focus on your OV, which is organizational volume, rather than your personal volume. And you need to start creating legs on your team. That was an aha moment for me, because my focus in my business was me, myself, and I. After that talk with Jennifer, it was followed by our Tuesday cash team call, and Becky invited Tanya Mann. What Tanya Mann said was, the income you get from shackling means different things to different people. For yourself, you may want to earn $500 to $1,000 a month to make a difference, but for someone, it could just be $200 to $250. Then she shared the story about the guy who just wanted to earn extra $250 a month to pay for his mortgage. And when he received that extra money, it meant so much to him. That moved me and made me realize that I was really thinking about myself and was being selfish. I was basically just talking about products. I was afraid to talk about the business, the income opportunity to people, because I don't want to hear the word no. I dread the word no and am not interested, because it will validate my insecurities. I had very low self-esteem, and so I tried to avoid speaking to people that will make me tell them more about what I was doing. From that day, I changed the way I think, a huge mind shift. I decided from that day forward, I will make a conscious effort to get out of my comfort zone, one step at a time. Among the first things I did was to get a CD that I could listen to. One of the CDs was Joel Osteen. Every day, especially when I'm driving. I drive a lot. So listening to CDs was the best way to start feeding my brain and my thoughts. I fed my mind with words of faith, encouragement, joy, and success. I was very insecure, fearful, and was very negative. So listening to CDs helped a lot. Whenever I would drop my kids off to school, pick them up, or wait for them, I'd listen to CDs. Soon my thoughts were about positive things, gratefulness, faith, hope, and success. Every time a negative thought would come up, I'd ignore it and delete it. I try not to dwell on those thoughts and would replace them with positive thoughts. It wasn't easy, but I was committed to change, and I'm willing to do all I can to reach my goals and start living the life I've been dreaming about. I read books that are inspirational, motivational, and books recommended by people I admire, like Jennifer and Becky. Also read about people who struggled but came out winners. I learned how to write new goals. I wrote goals that I could imagine myself achieving, like reaching new ranks, walking up the stage for recognition. I wrote a specific number of new people joining my team, numbers I want for my PGV and OB, getting qualified for Carbonis, and the incentive trip. I poured my heart and feelings into writing my new set of goals. And I felt very excited for the first time about doing those. I built my goal board that has words I like to see, like faith, action, success, and joy. It has ribbons we get from Shackley Live, like the Carbon Qualifier, the Star Achiever, and the Dream Trip Achiever. It has pictures of Hawaii, and that is this year was the Hawaii trip, and the Dream Plan. I had it right next to our refrigerator, so I could see it as often as I can during the day. I went back to reading books instead of watching TV, and I made an effort to be on the call, team calls, webinars that Jennifer and Becky does on a weekly basis. When I started reading and listening and participating in all those activities, I started seeing growth in myself and in my team. One of the significant change I noticed in myself was my confidence. I gained confidence in myself that I started calling and following up on members, customers every day. I made a list of people to talk to and call each day, and the more I do it, the more my confidence muscle grew. I became teachable. I remember one time when Jennifer asked me to do a Filipino, Tagalog version of the health and wealth presentation for the Glacken Global. I was very hesitant. I didn't want to do anything extra. So I said, Jennifer, most Filipinos understand and speak English anyway. There's no need for that. But those were just one of my excuses. And so the next time I said, nope, Jennifer, just tell me what to do and I will do it. Because I know she really cares and wanted me to succeed. One of the best fruits that came from following and calling was my friend Fei Yu. She was a Chinese tourist, and she said that she saw my card when she met a lady in New York. She called me up and we had a very short conversation. She told me to call her back in a couple of months when she might come and visit California. I called her up in 6 weeks, and after that met her in person. She invited me to come to the house where she was staying, which was owned by Christy Wu. Now, fast forward, Christy Wu is in my organization, and she's now a senior coordinator. She just came from our directors conference this month. I have more people now joining my team than ever before because they trust me and have established a relationship with them. I get referrals from my members and friends that I don't even know. I wanted to share a story about this gentleman I spoke with about 2 months ago. I came home and I saw a message on my business phone. So I called him up and I introduced myself, and I was very surprised because he did not sound, he sounded angry. He was upset that I called him back. He was really upset. And actually he said, so who are you? Well, my name is Mary Ann Hansen. I could introduce myself, and I just wanted to know if you have any questions. And I wanted to say, well, you called me first, and so I'm just calling you back. But so I said, well, so why did you call me? So, well, I just wanted to find out if you have any questions. I said, well, you know what? I don't have any questions, and please don't call anymore. Okay, so and then hang up. A couple of hours later, I received an email confirmation for an order of 2,400 PV on the same person. I work smart now, not harder, and get more things done than before. I learned how to use my time wisely from books I've read, from webinars and team calls. I used to ask myself, how can Becky and Chris manage their time with 6 children and be successful? The same with Jennifer, who had homeschooled her children from grade school to high school and be successful in their shackle business. I read that if you want to succeed, look for someone who is successful and follow what they're doing, which is what I'm doing right now. Jennifer told me to start doing a minimum of 2 in-home meetings a month. I now do 3 to 4 presentations a month, sometimes more. I do a lot of one-on-ones and small group presentations. I plan my day the night before and make a conscious effort to make use of my time wisely. I set a time in the day when my kids are at school to call my East Coast customers first, then the Midwest, and then the Pacific. I do make my schedule flexible and have learned to be flexible because things happen. Aside from my shackle business, I am currently the apartment manager for our apartment complex. So I do adjust my schedule a lot. I used to stress out and when things don't go as planned, so I learned to take it easy and relax. I keep myself active. I wake up 30 minutes early to exercise. And one of the most important things I did was to make time to pray. I made it a priority for me. That made a huge difference in the way I think, the way I do things for myself, my family, and my business. I hope that what I shared will inspire you to be open to change. It's never too late to change, and it's never too late to start again and reach your dreams. I hope that you make God a priority in your business and your life, for He will make your dreams a reality. And lastly, to never give up. Never give up on your dreams, even if you didn't start off well. And let your faith be bigger than your fear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marianne. I know, I've got some people going, wow. Yeah, that was a fantastic story. And I just want to point out 2 things to you about Marianne, and I hope that you take these 2 things to heart. Marianne truly 100% is coachable. And she's the one who shared that she was not coachable when she started. I don't know that I would have said that to her, but she wasn't as coachable as she is now. But really, your uplines do want the best for you. They want to pour into you and help you be successful. So please, please, please listen to them and take their advice to heart, because they really are trying to help you. And then the second thing is she had that mind shift. The shift from being a director and focused on herself and her business to really focusing on helping other people and building a team. And those are the 2 things that transformed her business. And that can happen to each and every person here. So just think about next year being back here at this time and having that same type of transformation. Going from a director, in her case, to executive coordinator in a year. Isn't that fantastic? Let's give her one more round of applause. Now, this is the last time that we get to hear Gary today. We want to soak it up. Gary's like, oh, thank goodness. Gary's going to share with you what his view is about building this business. So please welcome back to the stage, Presidential Master Gary Burke.
Thank you. Let's see. Mary, where's Mary Ann? Raise your hand.
She's over here.
Ah, that was terrific. That was terrific. Somebody come wondering what it takes? You just heard what it takes. Let's go home. That's it. That's all you need is a story like that with the steps she took, who she listened to. I went back to reading books instead of watching TV. I decided to do this, I decided to do that. That's probably in my book, that's really strong. That's really strong, that's great. Well, I told Jennifer, over the years, I've just kind of gathered things, like when I sit back and think about, okay, well, what is it that Faye and I do? How do I view growth? What do we do? You know, over a long period of years, it's been quite simple. It isn't very difficult. I mean, it's not necessarily easy, but it isn't difficult either. But I put together just some ideas as far as that over time have been meaningful for myself. But, you know, we're all different. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. One thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to learn what does it take to be successful in this business. So I listened to the Minneapolis people. Reading was one thing. I've read over 1,200 books. I've read two of them have been biographies, all the rest have been how to build or about personal development, that type of thing. I really enjoy reading. And I went from there and I tried to gather different principles that I thought would be helpful for me personally. And I hang on to those. I look them over, I read them, and I just hang on to stuff that's meaningful to me. So what I want to go through with you right now is just some things as far as some ideas, if you will. And, you know, what does it take to build this business? Well, you just heard what it takes to build a business. So I don't really have to go into that. For myself, like I told you this morning, my start, I earned $26.52. I went to meetings, I went to my sponsors meetings, and anywhere from 3 to 5 people were there. And on Mondays, I went to the Hagerman meetings, 100, 150 people were there. I'm kind of a back row guy. Don't want to need much attention. I just kind of want to learn, that type of thing. And the more I went to the meetings, the stronger the thought came that, hey, I can do this business. So the question you might want to ask yourself is, are you attending as many meetings as you can? If there isn't one in your area, are you doing them? Why not you do them? First of all, someone told me you might be thinking, but I would do a good meeting. Who said it had to be good? I've never heard anyone say you can't do meetings until they're really good. I've never heard that. You don't have to be good. You'll get good if you do it, for sure. You'll get good. And of course, in today's world, there's a lot of people that don't do meetings because they rely on technology. And I don't, one of the strong things about Jennifer and her organization is it's the meetings. It's in-home. The technology hasn't taken control where that's, you know, people think that they're going to, you know, like send out what you were saying, sending out the emails on Facebook and they come. Well, they aren't coming. And I thought that was great that you said that. If they aren't coming, well, go get the newspaper, you know, read it. But what does it take to build a business? Basically, it takes an attitude, obviously. It takes some good mentorship, good leadership, learn from people, and just a matter of really, in my view, the attitude of, okay, I don't know how to do a lot of things in this business, but I'm going to do it anyway. That was kind of where I was coming from, I guess, to put it very simple. It's going to take some time. At first, I didn't have time. I was helping a friend doing some remodeling in his house, and that took some time. I decided to stop that, and I got more committed. And the commitment part is the part that's hard to describe. Commitment's got kind of a feeling. This is what I'm going to do. And for me, once I decide this is what I'm going to do, I usually can do it. I count on that. This is what helped me. What do I want my business to look like in 5 years? I would ask that question. And I sit down with people. That's one of the first things I ask them. We have a small talk. Let me ask you a question if I can, if you allow me to ask that. And basically, it's, what do you want your business to look like in 5 years? The reason I ask that is because most people haven't thought about it. They think Shacky's a good idea. They fall in love with the products. They know the company's good. I mean, they've gone to some meetings. They've heard success stories, and they say, okay, I want to do this. But maybe they haven't thought about what I want it to look like. And that's the question now. What do you want, how much do you want to earn? I haven't thought about that. Well, let's talk about it. That's what I want to talk about. Once I know what a person wants to learn, then let's draw a model. Once I know, let's say you want to earn $2,000 a month, okay, I want to sit down and draw a model. And we'll just kind of figure it out as far as what it's going to take, what it's going to look like. And invariably, once a person sees a model, it's like, oh, that doesn't look so bad. Now, if I just let them try to figure out what it looks like, oh God, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, I don't want to talk that way. We want you to, 5,000, we try to get some ideas as far as what we, want it to look like, plus what we want them to do, but what will it take to make that happen? We talk about that. That's the part I like about the business. More than anything, once I realized, to me, this was a teaching coaching business. If this were a sales business only, if this were making transactions, I never would have thought about sponsoring. I was fortunate, and the guy that sponsored me talked about building something, not just selling something, building something. And I know myself, I was in sales with USG and a couple of corporations. But if it had been only making transactions, that wasn't for me. I had a lot to learn as far as getting appointments, that type of thing. But that was, down the road, I guess, put it that way. And the best way to get excited about the future is to redesign it. And that's what we did with our life, Kay and I, basically. We would talk about it, this and that. We kept that at it. And how do we want to live? I was working more with hoping for a lifestyle than the income. The income, in my view, comes almost automatically if you do the right things often enough. There's frequency. You're doing them. You're doing the meetings. You just get out there and doing it. What you're doing is you're redesigning. That's what we did. We redesigned our life. It was really that simple. And these are just things that kind of moved me, if you will. And I hear a lot of people have good intentions, and that's fine. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. And it's a matter of, okay, how do I get myself moving? That was the hardest part for me, was approaching people. And I'll talk about that at the end. But that piece of the puzzle, approaching people, getting appointments, what we've been talking about. And I think that the training that's going on today, where you heard some ideas. That's what you want. You want to find out, okay, how can I best do that? My intention was to build a large organization. Because in Minneapolis, there were models. Yeah, the Hadermans, the Hookers, the Swedes, the Center Homes. Then there were more. What I saw in Minneapolis, very simply, was that they're a large organization. You can build it, and they proved it. They were doing it. Al has this habit. He carries a check in his deposited check. He gets a check from Shackley, and it was $100,000. No, it was $10,000. At this meeting, I'm sitting in the back row, and he pulls out a check and says, "This is the first $10,000 check Shackley has ever paid to a person out in the field." And what they did was they sent a telegram. For those of you that are really young, I don't know if you know what they were. You can send a message over the wire. Now email. They sent a telegram to the Shackleys, and he read the telegram that he got back from Lee Shackley. "Dear Joan and Al, congratulations on getting the first $10,000 check that we've ever paid out." And then paraphrase it, I'll catch the rest of it. Basically, it's there's going to be many more behind you. And I remember sitting there in my back row thinking, just him pulling that check up. I thought, he was a policeman. And if I can learn what he knows. I don't know what he knows yet, but I'm going to do it. I want 10,000. It was, and that just kind of that inspired me. I don't know if it inspires you, but that inspired me to the point where I thought, this is going to be a ball. This is going to be a class. 10,000 a month, because at that time I was out earning about 700. That was my salary. And when you start thinking differently, I mean, and it starts getting inside of you, the good intentions, that I think what happens is that basically it turns into activity. And that's what happened. That was very, very important in my growth when I think back, because it was one of those steps, if you will, call it a step, that, okay, Al got a $10,000 check. A guy underneath him, Hoker, was getting $7,000 and $8,000 checks. I knew that. My sponsor was just 2 levels on. He was getting $1,000. I mean, I was seeing success. You're seeing success here today, this weekend. Lots of success in this room. And if some of you are wondering what to do, it's been shown. You know, it's been demonstrated in a lot of different ways. It's just a matter of, you know, are you ready, really ready to put those good intentions into activity? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And then, by the way, that's one of the other things that I learned to do for me that was helpful, was I learned to ask myself questions. See, we're all entrepreneurs. No one's an employee in this room. That's one of the hardest parts of the business. If you don't have anyone to talk to, if you don't have anyone to be accountable to, if you aren't really a self-starter, you know, and you're by yourself all the time, and if you don't have a mentor, or 2 or 3 or 4, if you aren't reading the right books, this is a doggone tough business with you if you paint that kind of picture. But if you just take the opposite of that, you're going to make it. Bottom line, if you're willing to put the time in, and that's of course another meeting. If you're willing to put the time in, you have to understand that we know what we're doing. Remember I told you this story this morning? But we know what we're doing? We do. And I don't mean Faye and I mean a lot of people in this room. There's no secrets. It's just who wants what, who's willing to go to work, and you know, we're looking for people to help. Simple. And the other thing is, a person will always grow the things they commit to. And my commitment was $3,000 a month. I saw Al's $10,000 check, but my commitment in my mind was, if we could ever earn $3,000 a month, I'll never need another giant. I thought that was a lot of money. It's a lot of money when you're making $700, your wife is making a little bit more than that. They was earning more than I was earning, and you know, that was kind of where that was. But boy, I can tell you, think about at $3,000 a month. That was our target, and I think that the $10,000 check came after that. But that's the one thing that I really got convinced. I said that's where we want to be, because that has had a chance to change our life. But you know, when you look at the screen as far as what's up there, the other thing on here that I committed to was meetings on the bottom left, and building 2 a year, especially 2 a year. That idea stuck with me, and we built 2 a year for 8 consecutive years. Other people would get the master coordinator in 3 years. It took us 8. Why? I'll tell you a little story. We were doing a meeting out in Washington, Pennsylvania. Kay and I went out there with our group, and then we went to West Virginia a little bit. The group did some meetings like this, a little smaller than this, obviously. But Keith Patterson, who was one of our leaders out there, was sitting on the lawn talking to Faye. And Keith asked Faye, how come it took you so long to get the master? You know, it took you guys 8 years, it was taking other people 3 years. How come, you know, why was that? And Faye I learned this about 2 or 3 months after this, because I wasn't at that little meeting. And when Faye said, oh, it's simple, Gary wasn't any good. He just wasn't very good. And about 2 months after that, you know, I heard the circuit around in Pennsylvania to do another meeting, and Keith told me, I said, did you really say that? He said, yeah. Well, it's true, you know. I wasn't very good, but I was working at it, you know, trying to get good, trying to get better. But that was a commitment, 2 a year, good or not. You know, that's why I think the way I think, I guess. Meetings, that's another one of my focuses, 3,000 per month for meetings, 2 a year. That was basically all I needed, but other people, whatever you get committed to, that's really where you're gonna pay your attention to. And at first, this is an attitude business, and then it becomes a skill business, a skill-based business. And this is one of the things that I wish more new people would really have an understanding of. You're gonna get better. If you're sitting in here, and you are trying it, or you're looking at it, or maybe you've been in it for 10 years or 15 years, and it's not happening as fast as you want, it's gonna happen. But at first, it's an attitude business, and it changes to a skill-based business. Does that make sense, first of all?
Yes.
Because this is a skill business. Getting an appointment is a skill. Listening is a skill. Getting a presentation is a skill. I mean, but the way it becomes a skill-based business is by having a good attitude, doing the right things, and working to get better, because that's gonna happen. There's no question about that. This came from a book that I read by a lady named Joyce Landorf. And the name of the book was Balcony People. And she's a Christian writer, it's not just a little book. And I don't know how many times I've read it. And basically what it's referring to is this: what every person needs is a balcony person. And she described it in the book, where if you've ever been in a basketball floor where they had a track around the top, where people would run and work out, and she in her book, she described that and say, just imagine at the top of that, as you're running around there, you've got about 5 people or 10 people, maybe 100 people up there rooting for you. She would say, that's balcony people. And everyone needs balcony people in their life. And they want to, in other words, to encourage. And that little book probably has helped me as much as anything. I send out messages to a group of people 3 or 4 times a week, whatnot. And that actually came from this, because what I enjoy doing about the business is encouraging people. I know what's going to happen. That's something that I like to work in, to stay connected. But she also said there are basement people, and they can't wait till you fail. They're pulling on your feet. They're trying to bring you down to the level that they're at. How many of you know at least one basement person? Yeah, okay. How many know a whole load of basement people? Yeah, right. They're all over the place. They're behind every tree. They are. They just are. But you have to understand that. But see, are you a balcony person to the people in your group? Are you encouraging? Yeah, I see that as part of our job. But that little book, Balcony People by Joyce Landorf, was one of the better ones I've ever read. And I already talked about these in a couple of meetings this morning or yesterday, but I want to kind of pick it up again on the stories thing. That's when it would help our business, because I was kind of frustrated, doing meetings myself, and it wasn't growing, it wasn't doing what I thought it could do or should do, or what other people were doing. And one of the things that I feel blessed about is I didn't compare myself with other people, because they were growing fast and we weren't. And I just wasn't able to do it that fast. But I just did decide that I could learn from anybody, bottom line. And I got frustrated, and I went back to watch the Hagerman meetings, and okay, they're doing something that I'm not doing. And it was about the I forget, 3rd or 4th time I went back to the meeting, and Joan Hagerman was talking, and then it just happened. Just happened. And that's what I should do. She tells stories. Stories about products, stories about people, stories about income. She told stories. That night changed our business. Have you heard any stories this weekend? You bet. It's not just getting up here in facts. For a while, in fact, my one-on-one used to be a lot of very, very detailed. And I've got away from that. I went more simply, but that because I have more stories about it. But telling stories, learning how to tell accurate stories, we don't have to exaggerate. But people that have had good results as far as the products are concerned, 3, 4, I talked about that. Yes, we had a conversation a couple nights ago over at Lorraine's place. Some people say, well, how did you build your business? We didn't sponsor many people. We've been in this 45 years, and we've sponsored approximately 350 people total. Kay has sponsored one person. She's got a great ratio because they gave a key coordinator. My ratios are a little different. But 350 people, there are some people that will sponsor 50 or 100 people every year for 10, 15 years. That wasn't my street. I wasn't very good at that. Well, then how did you meet all the people? Yeah, well, that's when I learned the principle, you prospect, I present. Well, what does that mean? I'd say, what's your first name? Julie. If I'm working with Julie and she wants to get started, we talk about getting started, we'll go through that. And Julie, here's what I'd like you to do. I'll go through your list, and what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to watch 3 to 5 presentations that I give them. I'll do them with you. I won't do them for you, but I'll do them with you so I can teach you to you, okay? Sure. And we'll make the appointments. And I want her to watch me 3 to 5 times. And by the time she's watched me 3 times, she's learned that this guy it's pretty simple. Very, very, very simple. And we go from there. And I've done that with a lot of people. Then you would take over from there. And what a lot of people do is they don't continue. No, just calling a spade a spade. Everyone doesn't continue even after they've sponsored 3 or 4 or 5 people. And basically what all I did was look at, okay, who has sponsored some people and who wants to continue. Now, I think the motive has to be right. My motive is to get you inspired. So if you drop back, I'm going to work with those 3 or 4 people that we sponsor. Because the sponsoring ratio I had, that was pretty good as far as sitting down in a very simple way. But the point was that you prospect, I present. That's how I met people. You prospect, I present. Does that make sense? That's, I could have sponsored 1,000 people that way. But basically, I wanted to build leaders and volume. I knew I wasn't very good at prospecting and sponsoring, but I was okay with that. But I knew that helped me get around that, very simply. Are you with me?
Yes.
You prospect, I present. I wanted new people to watch me, basically. And I would do one-on-one appointments. I'd do whatever it took to help someone. And that little principle there really answered the question. For example, we have 16 first levels. We do approximately 650,000 PV points per month. And the question is, okay, well, how's the business work? Well, we found 2 a year. We had 16 in our 8th year. And today we have 16. Now there's been some change in there, basically. But the point was, how did I meet the people? How many of the 16 did I find myself? That's the question. And the answer, would you like to know how many I found myself?
Yeah.
2. I say 3, and then Faye always says, okay, name them. I've learned to say 2. I found 2 people myself. 2. I hope you're sitting there thinking, boy, if that dodo could make this thing work, I can make it work. Just kept it simple. I found 2. Where'd they come from? You prospect, I present.
Yes.
Very, very simple. Very simple. I still love you. I thought I would be able to make master coordinator the same as some of the other people were. And a lot of us overestimate what we can do in 1 year. We underestimate what we can do in 5 years. That happens to a lot of people. I'm not growing fast enough. Oh, really? Okay. Join the club. What are you doing? Are you doing the right things? But the bottom line, I thought the goal, and I still think the goal of finding 2 a year. I think I said this earlier. If I were getting started today, there's no question in my mind what I would decide to do it, and I would do it. I would develop 3 first levels per year for 5 years. Now, why? Because the company says if you have 6, you'd be a master coordinator. Now, I'll ask it this way. How many would like to have or be a master coordinator? Okay, everyone. Thought you'd answer anyway. How many of you would like to have a large business and be a master coordinator? That's different. It's very different. Very different. I wanted a large business. Wanted 100, and we wanted 200. And all the way down now, we've got about 240 or so in the group. I forget where I was going with that, but I really overestimated what I thought we could do. We'll get back to that. And most people underestimate what they can do in 5 to 10 years. And I'm going to show you the slide I showed you earlier today about every 5th year. And it was, I learned the business in the first 2 years. I think I showed you that one where in the 30th month, that's when in my mind, in my heart, I knew I wrote the code in the 30th month. That was when I knew we could have the business at any size we chose. We could have a business probably twice the size we have. But I kept on, wanting the first levels. But I was having more fun working with the first levels. I really enjoy that piece of the work. But that's what this is showing, just every 5 years, as far as what can happen. And it can happen for anyone that learns to do the right things, develop the skills, and move forward. Very simple. And doubt really kills more dreams than faith ever will. Failing will. Why? Because doubt stops people from trying. That's what happens with doubt. Simple little word. And that's what I saw. I thought, boy, I wonder why they don't grow. They're really sharp people, this and that. Well, they doubted their upline. They doubted they doubted the system. They might doubt the idea of nutrition. But when there's doubt, a lot of doubt there's not a lot of activity. Not a lot of activity. And of course, the other thing is failing as a result of activity. Did I tell you about the meeting I went to May 20th? May 20th, a little over a month ago, I received an email from the University of Minnesota School of Business, and they were holding a one-day seminar on failure. I thought, well, I'm going to do a seminar based on failure. It was $199. I thought, I'm going. I'm going to see what are they doing here. Because the Minnesota School of Business is one of the top 10 business schools in the country. I thought this should be good, and so I went. And there were about 50 or 60 people. It was in a beautiful setting. I mean, this the theater that they had. And I sat down next to the guy, we small talk. He said, "What do you do?" And I told him what I did. I said, "Well, how about yourself? What are you involved in?" He said, "I'm an academic." I said, "What? You're an academic? What does that mean?" He said, "I teach." What do you teach? Just about failure. He said, "Well," he said, I'm just here to kind of see how we approach failure." I thought, "Boy, this is going to be a good day." And usually when you pay $200 to go to an all-day event, you get some kind of a syllabus, maybe 4 or 5 pages that kind of tell you what's going on, maybe ask some questions. There was one piece of paper with names of about 15 or 16 people and who they were and where they came from. That was it. And person after person got up and talked about their failures. And some described about how it was good to do that. And I'm sitting there trying to take notes, and person after person, male and female, what they started, why it didn't work, how much they lost, what they restarted, and how much it cost, and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, when's it going to get good? I mean, it really wasn't very inspiring. It was kind of interesting, but not very inspiring. I left about an hour early. And on the way home, I had a thought that maybe that $200 every day. All of a sudden it hit me. What we have, it doesn't cost much to get started. We're working on, we don't have to hire people. We do it in our spare time. And granted, maybe we have to, don't get as much sleep, but that's what it takes. And all the way home, I had this thought. I thought, boy, we have got so much to talk about, and so many people that are in this business don't really believe that. they like it, they really don't believe it. I haven't decided not to yet, but I got really inspired by it, and that was good for me, because I haven't prospected in a long time, because I like to do this, I like to teach and coach, do that type of thing. And I am so tempted now, see, this would probably be good for me to say this, but that might be putting my foot in my mouth, so be careful about where you're stepping here. I'm really tempted to grow 3 or 4 people just for the heck of it. Really, because it's that good. What they have to offer compared to what I heard that day at the University of Minnesota, and what they talked about, and how they talked about their businesses. I wish if I could have had a recording that was maybe only 3 or 4 minutes of a couple of them, because your heart just went out to you and you think, oh man, they were lost. I mean, nothing worked. And then, I mean, it was just such an interesting day, but the value that I got came when I thought, compared to what we have, with what they were talking about. What we've got, folks, is awesome. It's awesome. But it takes work, it takes effort. Inspiration is contagious. About 4 years ago, I had a total ankle replacement. And yeah, it's an ankle replacement. Knees, shoulders. I couldn't find anyone to talk to that actually had an ankle replacement. But I was in athletics for a number of years, and when I sprained a foot, it was always my left foot. It became arthritis, bone on bone. So I had a total ankle replacement. And I remember going to the doctor and saying I would go talk to this guy, and I thought, I wonder how many he's done. I don't want to be number 2. I don't want that. So I asked him, I said, how many did you done? He says, about 600, 600. And I found out later that he's world renowned, one of the top orthopedic guys with feet and ankles in the world. So, and just a side note, my family, they had some 3rd and 4th graders praying for me. And I told my niece, I said, no, don't have them pray for me, I'm fine. Tell them to pray for the doctor. I want him to get this right. I'm a little nervous, I'm saying. And you know how they, after the surgery, the doctor finds the spouse or the family that wasn't talking here, it was fine. And just before, I can back up, just before he, it's time to count to 3, 1, 0 out. Just before he did it, I said, I want to tell you something, Dr. What's that? I said, there's been a 3rd grade and 4th grade group that have been praying for you to do your best one ever. I'm laying there and he's looking, I'm out of there. It's over, and he goes and gets finds Faye, and Faye said, he walks in, he said, I just want to tell you that was probably the best one I've ever done. But anyway, going back. I was on a boot and had a cast and all that stuff, and because it was non-weight bearing for 6 weeks. And when he asked me, he said, do you have access to water? I said, yeah, when I get down to Arizona, we have great facilities. He said, get in the water about chest deep. Take the boot off, everything off, and get in the water about waist deep and walk in the water for about 15 minutes. The biggest problem I had was learning how to get in the water. Jay and I went over there. She kind of helped me get in the water the first time, a couple times, and then I figured that out. I can do that. And I walked in the water for about 15 to 20 minutes. And on the left, they had this big sign. And what it said was, inspiration is contagious. Once inspired, you're capable of anything. I read that thing every day, every time I went by it. I loved it. I thought, oh, that's really good. That's really good. And I still love it. I think that's a great, the wording, inspiration is contagious. Once inspired, you're capable of anything. And part of these weekends are about getting inspired a little bit. How many of you are inspired by the last story here? Yeah, I thought that's all it takes is get kind of excited inside. Let yourself go. But that I just remember going back and forth in the water and reading that, and I thought, wow, that's just terrific. Okay, kind of winding down, what you're gonna have to do is 3 things. You're gonna be challenged, there's gonna be adversities, and you have to be a problem solver. If you wanna know what you're faced with, what's gonna happen. For example, for me, it was very, very challenging to speak at a meeting. I almost didn't, I guess I mentioned this before, I almost didn't graduate from college because of the lack of speech. I was scared to death. I didn't want to do that. And I can still remember the last day of class when it was over and I got a C. I was still. And I remember saying to myself, never do that again. I'll never speak in front of a group on my feet again. What should we say? When adversities happen and people that solve problems, you know, there's something about that. It's a part of life. There's problems in all aspects of life. In our businesses, this is my last slide. This is one of my favorite quotes by Tom Landry. Tom Landry is he was a football coach for the Dallas Cowboys, one of the finest coaches in the history of the game. He did a lot of winning, and basically, my job is to make people do things that they don't want to do so they can achieve things that they want to achieve. And what I want to end with, I'm going to read one thing, but when I thought about this, I've read this a long time, I thought, you know, that's our business. I'm going to tell you right now what I think is the best process that can help you be successful. You're going to have to do things that you don't want to do, and you're going to have to do things that you don't know how to do. I didn't want to prospect, but we did. I didn't want to do meetings, but I did. I didn't want to be in sales, but we are. I didn't want to be criticized, and we have, but we still are. I didn't want to face rejection, but we did. How many of you want to be successful? Dumb question. What you have to do, in my opinion, is you have to start doing the things you don't like to do, and you have to start doing the things that you don't know how to do. If you don't do that, I don't think you've got a career. But if you're willing to do that, just think about it for a second. What is it that you're not doing that you know you should be doing, and you know that if you did do it, and if you got good at it, you would grow like never before. There's something in your head. Most people aren't doing everything. They leave out parts of the business. Just keep that in mind. My job is to make people do things they don't want to do so they can achieve the things that they want to achieve. He was able to make them do that, make them work, push them in coaching. Just push, get them in shape. Well, we can't do that. You have to figure out that out for yourself. But if there is something, if you aren't growing the way you want to grow, what is it that you have to start doing? What is it that you have to start being? Got it? Last thing. Some of you have heard this. I have used this for 30 years. All my friends in Jackie, you've heard this. I found this in the paper probably 30, 35 years ago, a little article. It's about a lady named Mary. Mary Mania took more than 5 minutes to cover 50 meters in the pool at the World Masters Games in Brisbane, Australia on Friday. But she and the hundreds of applauding spectators weren't complaining. Marvelous Mary, she is known to her friends, celebrated her 101st birthday 2 weeks ago. 101st. She entered this swimming contest. Her clocking, 5 minutes, 12 seconds, and 34/100 clocking, gave her an unofficial Masters Games record in the 100 to the 104-year-old category. They have a category 100 to 104. It does say, though, although, it does say that she was the only competitor in her age group. Mania, who lives on the nearby Gold Coast of Queensland State, took up swimming at the age of 16 for recreation. The next sentence is the reason I've kept this all these years. Quote, this is Mary, 101 years old. I was determined that I'd get to the end. I was determined to get to the end. Said Mania, who has a pacemaker. She showed up at the competition with a letter from her doctor detailing her daily medications, just in case she was drug tested. Are you determined? Are you determined? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, have a great day. Bye.
Very good, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. So many methods, right? What could you add to that possibly? I'm not going to do any damage to it by adding any of my details, but I took pages, I have like 4 pages of notes over there. And it's the inspiration, isn't it? It's all those little stories, those little nuggets. I've heard some of those stories for years from Gary. And they always inspire and motivate. Okay. Our next speaker is actually my upline's upline. So let me see, are Lynn and Marty in the room? They're there. Could you guys stand up for a second? Those are my direct uplines. Lynn and Marty Frederick, master coordinators. In January, Marty spoke and he talked a little bit about his Shackley story. He shared a little bit about Dr. Shackley, and we thought today that we would have Susan share a little bit about Dr. Shackley from her perspective with her son Luke. In our story last night, and actually in our health and wealth presentation that we do on a regular basis in our organization, we share their story. It's a phenomenal legacy story. The story of Helene passing on her business to her daughter and her grandson. And we thought that they would do a wonderful tribute to Dr. Shackley. I am so proud and honored to have them as a part of my upline leadership. So please welcome to the stage, Susan Barth-Harris and Luke Shackley.
Good afternoon and thank you. I did not get the memo of the little black dress. My gal, I got the shoes. Yeah. You know, not everyone is created with the same gifts and talents. You all know that, right? Mm-hmm. And have you ever met someone that just seems to have been born under a lucky star? Everything seems to go right for them, just good fortune at every turn. And you've met other people too that, good heavens, everything seems to go wrong for them. It makes you wonder. And this is not a new question that people have been asking, because quite honestly, philosophers have been pondering what causes this for millenniums. So please, let's go to the second slide. Allow me to tell you a story. Now this goes back to the Han Dynasty, about the 3rd century BCE. There was an old farmer who had a young son and a horse, and they lived far out in the country. Well, one day, this horse ran away. All the townspeople came up, oh, farmer, farmer, such tragedy, such tragedy. But the old man replied,
Tragedy or opportunity? Who's to know?
and the people were confused. And interestingly enough, the very next day, the horse came back, and it had another horse along with it. All the townspeople, oh, farmer, farmer, what great news for you. But the farmer replied,
Tragedy or opportunity?
well, the farmer's son fell in love with the new horse, and he got on her and rode her every day. One day, however, though, she got spooked, threw him off, and he crushed his hip. All of the farm people came out again and said, oh, farmer, farmer, what tragedy. Your brilliant young son will never walk again. But the farmer replied,
Tragedy or opportunity? Who's to know?
and so then it went that on New Year's, one night, The emperors already came through. There was a border war. And they took all of the young men into war. Of course, most of them did not make it back. But they didn't take the young son because of the broken hip.
Happiness is a state of mind. Therefore, it depends entirely on the thoughts you choose to produce.
Yes, happiness is a state of mind. These are all Dr. Shackleton quotes, which leads me to telling you the story of another great man, of Dr. Forrest Shackleton Sr. You see, Forrest came into the world with a lot of what most people would say disadvantages. He was born with what the midwife called consumption, or what we know as tuberculosis. She said he would never live long. But of course, Forrest did, although he remained frail throughout his years. But you see, his mother taught him.
Listen to the voice of nature. Feel the joy of living.
He required a lot of rest growing up near Fort Dodge, Iowa. And because he couldn't play like the other boys could, Forrest had time for solitude, for thinking, to think and observe nature. And instead of feeling sorry for himself, he learned all these folk remedies. And he gathered plants and herbs that his mother used to use. When Forrest was as young as 8 years old, he read inspirational books and he heard speeches such as great ones from orators William Jennings Bryan.
Activate your thoughts and activate your life.
In 1914, knowing that he would never become a farmer like his father, he went to chiropractic school at Palmer College, and there it was where he met his wife, Ruth Chapin. And after graduating, he bought a chiropractic clinic of a former doctor. This is also when he took an increased interest in nature and in nutrition. Now he was a chiropractor, and it was 100 years ago now that he created the first mineralized vitamins that we know today.
And the golden rule, obviously, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Next year was 1921, and his world looked bright and it was filled with opportunities. Now these were the years of new inventions, new technologies, new people, Carnegie, Ford, railroad, industry, modernization, technology. And one of the newest technological things they had out was this thing called the X-ray machine. They did not know, however, of the dangers of X-rays at this time. And he soon started to notice that he had burns on his shoulder and on his hip. Well, he went to see some other physicians, and they told him the terrible news. Forrest, you have cancer. Well, he was looking for options. What can I do? And they did give him an option, amputation. Perhaps that would give him a little bit more time.
I never belittled the medical profession, he said. The medical field is interested in treating disease. I'm interested in building health.
Yes, he had that thought process. Opportunity, tragedy, who's to know? Well, he turned around and he told his wife, he was a young man, a wife, a child, another one on the way, facing life as a double amputee. No. He said, I will live, I will heal, I know I can do it. And with no other choice in his mind, he bet his life on the healing power of nature with a strong visualization of a healthy body. And within a few weeks, he sold his clinic, and he began an intensive program of nutrition, including his own vitalized minerals, continual blood analysis, and occasional fasting, meditation, and reading. But healing did not come quickly, and I need you folks to understand this. It took time. After some time, there were really no signs of any improvement, but he was certain that his healing depended on a positive mental attitude and on supplying his body with the proper nutrients so it could heal.
The difficult things we do immediately, the impossible takes a little longer.
Yes. Then by the end of 1922, the sores finally began to heal and were replaced with healthy tissue. His strength and energy also returned. He was more alive and more convinced than ever that his ideas on nutrition were absolutely sound. And finally, in 1924, to mind you, that is 3 years, he was strong enough to open again another clinic. This time, however, he had formulations for his food supplements, which were packaged and then dispensed to his own patients.
Opportunity.
Ah, yes, opportunity. But then in 1929, his clinic burned down.
Tragedy.
All were lost. Everything burned except an inspirational book by Elder Hubbard called Little Journeys. One passage in the book stood out above all others, and it read,
When all else is destroyed, only the product of the mind remains.
Dr. Shackley moved to the West Coast with his family, and eventually they settled down in Oakland, California, where Dr. Shackley opened yet another practice. But then, in the summer of 1941, his wife Ruth was struck by a car as she crossed the street in Oakland. She was hospitalized, but eventually she passed away in December of that year. Now the country was at war, and Dr. Shackley's 2 sons signed up for the service. And there he was, all by himself, alone, and uncharacteristically unsure of what to do. Heartbroken, he retired to a secluded place in the country.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and staff, they comfort me.
Truly, how much can one's soul take? Sickly childhood, constant moods, burned down clinics, cancer, and now the death of a beloved spouse. You know, when I take a look at this room, I know there's stories like that in here. Sometimes life can throw us some pretty hard curveballs. So how does one move forward after these painful events? Well, Dr. Shackley went to healing his broken heart through solitude, reading, writing, and developing his own philosophy. And truly, it was during this time, during this dark night of the soul, that Forrest once again dug deep inside within himself. You know, his guiding light had always been nature and a positive mental attitude. So he turned to them again, and he saw that all of these life's challenges were not tragedies, but merely the opportunities for him to learn and grow. And he saw the journey of his life take place, that everything that happened to him merely took place to set his purpose in life, because he believed the words of Napoleon Hill.
Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit.
Opportunity. And so he emerged in 1945 and he sold his ranch in Oakland. He resumed his part-timerness. He also began a second career as a motivational speaker and personal appearances, local radio broadcasts, and in writing 4 books. He expounded on a philosophy based on the power of positive thinking, which he called thoughtmanship. It was really very simple.
What you think, you look. What you think, you do. What you think, you are.
And then, at the age of 62, when most people are thinking about retirement, he took all that he had learned and began a nutritional supplement business. So it was in 1955 that Dr. Shackley asked his 2 sons if they would join him in what we now know as the Shackley Company.
I wanted a company that would improve the lives of everyone it touched.
And to complete the picture, in August of 1957, he fell in love and married Dorothy Parker, a warm and loving woman who was his constant companion. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet Dorothy and Dr. Shackley a few times. I am a Shackley kid. I was 14 years old when Mom started it. And as big and as important as this man was, he could talk to you and make you feel like he knew you, like you were a personal friend. He could make you feel like you were the most important person in the room. Truly, it was a gift that he had. Our first international trip was in 1975, and it was when we went to Puerto Rico. Well, my mother was so thrilled. We had never been out of the country before ever. So she came up to him, oh, Dr. Shecky, thank you for this wonderful trip. He said, no, Helene, Helene, don't thank me. You earned this trip. And then he went on to talk to her about Palmer Chiropractic College because he had heard that she had a brother who went there also. Oh, small world, wasn't it?
Our thoughts create our luck. Whatsoever a man soweth, so shall he reap.
Yes, and I also had a personal opportunity of meeting them. London, 1977. I was in my early 20s, kind of green around the edges. I'm running, trying to find mom and dad, hopped in the elevator. There, the both of them are standing, all decked out for the evening. So I looked down. You know what you do in an elevator? You just kind of look down. Well, there she is, and she had this ring on her finger. Oh, it was huge. One big diamond and two other big ones. She leaned back and she put her hand up. It's a beauty, isn't it? Oh, yeah, oh my. And she did. She pulled me close, laughed like a grandma gives a hug, smack against her. And he laid back his head, laughed. When we say Shackley family, folks, this is where it started with these two people, truly. They made you feel like you were family.
You must share your life with others, for the more you share with others, the more valuable your share will become.
And then came the year 1978. The newly renamed Shackley Corporation had just been listed on the New York Stock Exchange. There was incredible growth. We had just opened up in Japan, so much growth that they had to hire their first major CEO to take over. And also, a reason is because the family was getting tired. They wanted to enjoy the fruits of their labors again. Now, don't forget, Dr. Shackley at this time was in his early 80s. But still, with the trimmed down schedule, he did try to make all of the conventions. And I found this tad bit of info. It was funny. So one executive recalls almost saving Doc's life when a stout woman charged him at the Chicago convention and flung her arms around him on Paul's mouth. After this time, he was assigned a guard to be with him at all conventions.
We're having the time of our lives.
All good things eventually come to an end. And Dr. Shackley died in 1986, in his 90s, happy and fulfilled man. He lived a complete life, turned tragedy into opportunity more times than one could dare to count. He knew the key to happiness because he wrote,
happiness is the reward of creative thought. So if you want to be happy, set about creating happiness. Happiness comes from doing, not just from wishful thinking.
And over the years, the Shackley Corporation has gone through the exact same kind of tragedies and opportunities. But with every twist and turn, Dr. Shackley's philosophy has kept us on the right track.
Life is divided into three terms: that which was, which is, and which will be. Let us learn from the past to profit by the present, and from the present to live better for the future.
And indeed, our Shackley past has been very rich. Our present is filled with opportunities, and our future is exciting beyond measure. I really am sure that Dr. Shackley would more than approve of his successor, Roger Barnett. Not only has Roger been a global leader, pioneering new ways for environmental achievements and humanitarian projects, but thanks to Roger, the Shackley brand is now synonymous with high quality and efficacy, representing one of the most respected names in both health, wellness, and profitability in direct selling.
If you serve humanity, you can't keep the dollars from rolling in.
And how fortunate we are to have Dr. Davey continue Dr. Shackley's nutritional mission of living in harmony with nature. He is continuing with the same commitment to develop products to improve the health and people of this planet. The new state-of-the-art Dr. Forrest C. Shackley Global Innovation Center is really proof of that commitment.
Follow the laws of nature and you'll never go wrong.
So, my friends, my Shackley family, what would Dr. Shackley if he was still here today? What tips would he give us about running our business today in this complicated, competitive world? When shipping is not as fast as we like it, when the website crashes, when we lose directors, when all those little tedious problems, what do you think he would tell us? They're tragedies or opportunities? Yeah, I think he said exactly what he said.
You can accomplish as much or as little as you can.
So we hear you, Dr. Shackley. And so in closing, we want to thank you, Dr. Shackley, for your hard work, for your innovation, for your dedication, for your projects, for your leadership. But most important, we want to thank you for teaching us we want to thank you for your courage, fortitude in never, ever, ever giving up, no matter how tragic, how heartbreaking it might be at that moment. You taught us that opportunity abounds. And so as we move into the next 100 years, we thank you for your directives on success in front of us, because just as you said,
your future will be exactly what you make of it. Because the best way to predict the future is to create it.
and so we will, Dr. Shackley.
Right.
Right? So we will.
Thank you. You heard a lot of details that we didn't know about Dr. Shackley, didn't we? Okay, we have a book. So Susan, once you get your mic, I'll come back up because I'm going to do the drawing. Reflections on a Philosophy. I'm sure a lot of you have read this, but we have one to give away, so we're going to pull from the blue ticket box. Okay.
Okay, and the winning blue ticket. How do I go this way? 626198.
Oh, now we have a winner. Congratulations, Susan has your book here. Have you read the book yet? Oh, good, 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 good. Excellent. Thank you so much, Susan. Okay, it is getting close to the end of the day, so we thought we would have Tony come fire y'all up. Debbie's gonna fire him up. You know, Tony asked me, he said he wanted to know where the English flag was on the stage. Getting close to 4th of July, and he wants an English flag up here, so we have to remember that for the next time he's in town. Oh goodness, I don't think they need much of an introduction, but I know you're gonna have a fabulous time listening to a little bit about their story, and I have to apologize up front, I got the pictures wrong. So whatever the pictures are, I'm gonna take the blame for you. So welcome to the stage, Tony and Debbie Underwood. You've always taken the blame, sir.
I know. I was like, man, you know, I put a few notes down, but I never stick to them. I don't know why I write them in the first place, right? We just kind of go with the flow. Is that good?
Yeah.
Oh, I never like to be predictable or not, right? You know, it's been a good day, hasn't it? Been a great day. Awesome day. You know, for 25 years in this industry, You know, I still learn from events. We never stop learning. Every single event. We've been to hundreds and hundreds of events here in the United States and Canada. 2 weeks ago, we were speaking at the regional room in Vancouver, Canada. It was awesome out there, and we've been all over Europe and the world. And last year, we were in China with 20,000 people in Shakti. It's just awesome. It's a great lifestyle to travel. You like to travel?
Yes.
And if you like to travel, it's great not having a job and having to work for the last, 22 years, right? 22 years.
It's 25 for me.
25 for her, 22 for me, so pretty good, we had a great time. But I want to thank all the speakers. I think they did awesome, so I want to thank all the speakers. So before we start, we'll start off here. You mentioned July the 4th. And I didn't know you had July 4th. I guess it is coming up, right? July 4th. You celebrate July 4th? Really? Shame on you. Shame on you. I can't believe you do that. We actually wear black armbands. We don't kind of go out for the day, you know what I'm saying? We just stay. Who's MJ? They still haven't loosened up too much yet, MJ. But anyway, we just wanted to, I know some of you may know some of this before, but we just wanted to share, especially for the new people, because what we're here to do is give you guys belief, right? It's not about the details on even how to invite, even though MJ gave some great examples, Jennifer, it's all about, do you believe? Because it's not about does Shakti work, right? It's 57 years old. You know, if it didn't work, somebody would have figured it out by now, wouldn't you think? So it's not the products, it's not the science, it's not who owns the company. So, you know, when we joined, if it didn't work, then it was my fault. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so it comes down to believability. It comes down to you believe that it can work for you, doesn't it? Yeah. And that's why you come to these, because you want to come and get inspired or get some belief. So when you leave here, don't leave here excited, leave here a little more committed. Because excitement only lasts for about a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks and you're back down again, right? It's like pumping up the balloon, you know? Because everybody can be pumped up when you've got 200 people in a room. What happens when next week you have an argument with your spouse or your kids are playing up and you got 4 no-shows, you're supposed to be on a webinar and it's raining outside and it's snowing, you still go. See, that's what, when the rubber meets the road, is when you're up, that's easy. But when you're down, can you still be up? Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what we got to do. It's easy to be all excited here because you all kind of like, oh man, fantastic, isn't it great? Oh man, you're awesome. Oh, what a great day. That was awesome. Wasn't that fantastic? Yeah, till you get back home again, you get beaten up, right? And we've been through that. We've been there. So so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. And you messed the pictures up for us?
Yes, I did.
Let me see what we got. So that's our family, the recent picture of our family. Our daughter just got married, kind of, so that's the Underwood family. We've got 3 kids that are all married. This is just a few weeks ago, down in St. Augustine when my daughter got married. She's the one in the white dress. We had a beach wedding, and it was just fantastic. I walked it down this 300-foot, what do they call it, boardwalk to the beach. It was fantastic. So then our little granddaughter on the end there. So that's the Underwood family, and that's the whole group that we're taking to England in October. So that's probably one of the main reasons why we built this. Somebody mentioned it. I think it was who was the lady that did the testimony this morning? Trista. It was Trista. You talked about that, I think, about memories, right? You know, cars and homes and things. You know, they're great and everything, but it's the memories you develop, and that's why we built the Shakti business. That's why we got in this industry to do that, so we could build memories. Because you can't take curtains with you, can you? Or cars, or couches, or you know, hardwood floors. Does that make sense? Some of that may excite you, but it didn't us. So, and then the other part of the family, of course, is our dog Henry. So that completes the Henry. That's our little fluffy little dog there that we're going to pick up that my daughter's got, and that's our granddaughter on the left there, Thea Grace. Her name's Thea Grace. So that's why we do it, right? And we could leave now, we're done. But that's our motivation, and that's part of our family. So we just had a couple of slides there. So that.
Where do you want me to
Oh,
start?
start wherever you want.
Okay. Well, we came from England originally, obviously. I was a physical therapist. Tony started working in the corporate world, and we got into a trap like many young people do today. We were well paid, but we were living to our max, Does that relate to anybody? We bought the biggest house we could on the income we had, we had the best cars we could have, and we wore the best clothes, and we had 2 kids. And honestly, if we stopped working for just a month, we probably would have been close to bankruptcy. That's where we were. And then one day, I happened to be in a restaurant, and a couple came by, heard my accent, and said, "Oh, you're from England." I said, "Yes." They said, "Have you ever looked at owning your own business?" And I said, "That's what I really would love to do. But my husband and I are so busy right now. We, trying to make ends meet. We're making a good income, but we're in a trap." So they said, "Well, we have something we'd like to show you." I said, "That's going to be tough because we're going out of the country for 5 months. But maybe down the road we'll meet again." And I thought no more of it. But 6 months later, when we came back from our travels, they contacted us. There's a story in this. Remember to follow up on people, because they followed up on us and they shared with us a business opportunity. A little different from Shakti, but it was a business opportunity. And they kept following up and following up, and we got excited about it, because finally I saw a little ray of hope of a way to get out of our trap, a way for me to be a stay-at-home mom, a way for me to be able to homeschool our children down the road. And that's where it all began, right?
Yep, we came to a meeting just like a lot of you did. I hated it. I went because she got in and she was dragging me along, right? How many guys can relate to that? And I thought it was something for the ladies to do. I gotta be honest with you, right? I thought it's not for me, right? So, businesses on the side. So we started, and we didn't come out of the gate fast. We were awful. We had no list. We were from England. We didn't really know anybody in Atlanta, Georgia, and we actually lived here in Chicago for 4 years in Oak Lawn in Willow Springs. So we're down there, and I got transferred in my corporate position, and so I didn't really like it. So for the first year, I think I told somebody this before, but we sponsored one person in the first year, one, and we'd been to 5 major conventions, 5. We were there by ourselves. It was Miami. First one was Miami, right? And I don't think we would have been here, because if we'd been in Kansas City, we probably wouldn't have gone, right? Nothing wrong with Kansas, but Miami Beach was a little more, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, Miami, let's go to Miami, yeah. And we didn't stay for the whole events. It's like when you come to events, we came late, we left early. We did, because we were full up, we had enough, we left. When you have a team, you arrive early and leave late, right? Makes sense? And you're there for everything. But for the first year in our network marketing industry in 1989, we sponsored one person. By the time we got to the second year, we sponsored our second person. Within 14 months, we only had one left. Just one quit. One person. We probably spent a couple of $1,000 on events and traveling and whatever. And I don't know what kept us in. I guess we had a big desire because we didn't want to, work for somebody else. Even though I made good money in the corporate world, we were making probably 160, 70,000 in 1990 between us. Is that good money?
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah, we spent probably 180, right? Because you always spend more than you make, right? They told you how to get into debt, get a credit history, so we obliged to that. And, I had a platinum card, I had my own parking space at work, it was great. But they owned me, and it took a while for me to understand. I was 35 years old, and it took me a couple of years to really grasp that I didn't want to be controlled by somebody else. I didn't want somebody else deciding my own destiny, right? I want to decide what I do. That makes sense? Yes. Because either you're going to decide or somebody else is going to decide it for you. So I'd rather I decide. And so you got to be disciplined to do that. And it was tough when we first started with 3 kids under 6, no family, no list, right? How do you get to meetings? How do you build it? We had to get a big map, and we had to carve out little bits of time that we could make a phone call or do a meeting or go to an event. And it wasn't easy. I got to tell you, it was not easy, was it?
No.
At all. And I was traveling Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I was, for all intents and purposes, I was a single mom at home. But we went to an event and something clicked for me. I was an introvert. Any of you out there in the audience? They're not the people that are waving high in the sky, because they're introverts, right? That was me, and at this event, I knew that I had to do something to make a difference. It was up to me. I couldn't rely on Tony to do it for me. It was up to me. And I came home, and it was a huge, big step, because I knew that I had to learn the basics. The things that Gary was talking about today, getting out there and contacting with people, that was not comfortable for me. I had never initiated a conversation in my life. I was always a responder, not an initiator, right? So I started to read those books, The Balcony People, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Magic of Thinking Big. I learned all the personality styles so I could talk to people on their level. I learned to listen to what they were saying and respond to their needs. It took me 3 months of practicing just saying hi to people. Where are you from? I'm Debbie, by the way. So that's a neat little outfit your girl's got on, just striking up conversations. After 3 months, I finally got my first name. And some of you are saying that's pathetic. It might seem pathetic, but to me it was a huge big step out of my comfort zone. I came home that day and I did a victory dance around the dining room because I had the name and the number of a guy, this lady's husband, who Tony was going to talk to. You see, I played dumb to be smart. I pretended that I wasn't an expert in business because after all, a mother of 3, how can she be an expert in business, right? So I said to this lady, I said, you know, your husband doesn't sound like he's happy doing what he is. And she said, oh, he hates it. He'd do anything to have his own business. I said, well, this might be an absolute shot in the dark, but my husband right now is developing his business in the area. I'm not even sure if this would work out, but maybe the two of them could talk on the phone, and perhaps there could be something for each one of them. She said, okay, that's fine. I said, well, when will be a good time? Oh, Tuesday night, between 7 and 9. Let me have the number. I went home with the number, and I gave it to Tony. We sat down and we showed them the business. They didn't get in, but that didn't matter because I'd made that first step. And I was in the routine. I was getting comfortable now. This is what we all have to go through at different levels if we want to move our business forward. And about a year later, we had grown a significant business.
We were terrible at contacting. I mean, you don't believe that now, right? After 25 years. We were awful. We were so bad. We would stand outside of hotels week after week after week after week, no show after no show after no show. It wasn't very motivating, I gotta tell you. I mean, right, and then we'd run the meeting, and we'd sit at the back, you know, we'd sit down after another no show, right? Weeks of it in Atlanta. I can tell you the Holiday Inn, we were there weeks, and then of course the networking guy would come out, you know how they're all excited, right? Come bouncing like, hey, how's everybody doing tonight? You all excited? No, not really. You know, after weeks of this, you know, this is BS, you know, this is not good. And this went on for weeks, and then we got smart because if you have a big enough desire or dream, you're going to figure it out. Even if we never really had an upline. We didn't have a mentor at all. We just had to figure it out. So if you want something bad enough, you'll figure it out. You can't blame it on somebody upline or your downline or the people in your team. You figure it out. And we figured it out. So then we stopped doing that. We started going picking people up. Right? Instead, I mean, now that becomes, you know, less of a chance of a no-show. Because think about this, right? They have to physically leave their own home to no-show us. Right? They do. They got to leave their own. They got to pack all the stuff up, you know, and they got to leave. So we got better. So we didn't have too many no-shows. And we put them in the car. We wouldn't let them drive themselves. Oh, no. Put them in the back seat. Just the mirror. You all ready? Boom. Put the accelerator down. Shoom. Drive fast so they can't jump out, right? They're going to make the meeting. And then we learned to put them on the front row. We always put them on the front row, right? Don't put them in the back. Put them on the front. And then we'd sit there, but we wouldn't put them on the end. Because we don't want them disappearing, right? Put them in so they can't get out, right? They put them right there. Make sure there's people on this side, people on that side, and there's someone right in the middle, hit the front, we're driving the car, they got no way to get home. Got that on your no-shows. You think I'm joking? Was that not true?
That was absolutely true.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, apart from chaining them, like a criminal or something, we had it in the front row. We did that, so that's how we started. So go ahead. We did a year of that.
One of the other important things in meetings, and this is something that you can do too, is that we use the influence of the speakers and our upline to help to sponsor those people. We always would take our guests up to our upline or the speaker in the room so that they could help to edify the team to those people. And it worked every time. It was all, so if you're not doing that right now, it's a great thing to do, is to bring your people around the team. Let them meet other people on the team and see how they can fit in. It was an exciting time because finally we began to see growth in our business because we were following the pattern, following the system that our upline was teaching us. And it works when you do that. We began to get very excited about our goals. And one thing I would suggest to you, if you have a dream or a desire, something that you want to reach, is write it down in detail. What does that mean? I wanted to come home from work, to be with my children, to be there as a full-time mom. Now, I knew what I was making every month, but I sat down and I worked out exactly how much money it would take for me to be home. That was different than the amount I was earning, because the amount I was earning, I had to pay for a decent car to travel to work. I had to pay for a uniform to wear every day. I had to pay for lunches for work. All those little extra things that I was paying for made it a lot more money to be at work. So when I took all that away, as well as the babysitting and every other convenience food I bought, it really wasn't a big amount of money that I needed to make to be home. When I saw that, I was so thrilled because I knew that we could do it. And when that moment hit, I knew that we could do it, was when we started moving ahead. Because we had a vision, we had a goal, and we put a time to it. We had a plan to get there. And within just a few months, it happened when we saw it.
Yeah, and we just kept going. And we've had, I was telling Tim at lunch today, do you think in 25 years we've been the most positive people every day? We get up and think, we're in a networker, we're the most positive people on the planet. Everything's wonderful. What do you all think? No. Do you think that for 25 years that we've done 15 to 20 plans every single month?
No.
No. We've gone through in 25 years where we've taken breaks and got lazy thinking, I don't feel like talking to anybody. You want me to be honest, right? There's times where it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Aggravated. Right? I mean, really. I mean, so there's been times, but you know what? There's been times where we've done 9 months or a year where we are total laser focus. And that's what builds momentum. Does that make sense? It's almost like going down the runway when you go down in a plane, which we do about every week, and you take off. That's where you use most of the fuel when you take off, right? You climb to 35,000 feet. Well, that's when we're laser focused, going down that runway with the bumps and whatever, the turbulence. You take off and you climb up to 35,000 feet and you put on autopilot. And that's what we do occasionally, put on autopilot. That's the whole reason for doing this, isn't it? I think. I want to be George Shaw. He makes like 150, 200,000 a month. He goes to the major conventions once a year. I see him occasionally at some of the regionals. He's got the green jacket with the presidential master on, right? Here he comes. 100 to 200,000. Hey, George, how's it going? Hey, Tony, how's it going? You good? Chris is doing good? Yeah, good. Okay, good. I'm serious. That's what I don't, isn't that what you want to do? How many plans you do, George? I've done anything. 20 years. Okay, good. I mean, seriously, isn't that what we want to do? That's what I want to do. If I'm hearing my name as I'm the upline on stage, then I don't have a big enough business. Think about that. If I'm hearing my name on stage from people in my team, then I don't have a big enough business. Do you get that or not? Right? I don't want to hear my name. I want to be in Australia hearing somebody else's name. You all with me? Other leaders, okay? Because you're developing. I'm not sure if you understood what Gary was talking about when he said he only sponsored 2 personal. Did you get that? I don't think a lot of you did. That means because most of them came from debt, which is what I'm going to cover in the global conference. Leaders come from building debt. If you want to start with building 3 legs, 20 deep. That's what we learned. Most of the network marketers are building 20 deep because leaders come from debt. Debt it builds security. If you're too shallow, right, you don't have security. Can you build a group with just customers? Maybe. Not a lot of time or freedom though, because you've got to handle those customers all the time. I'm not saying you not to have customers. Don't go say no, don't need to have no customers. But you need to build leaders if you want financial independence or freedom. Build 3 legs, 20 deep. Then build another 3 legs, 20 deep. Your leaders will come in depth, and that's what Gary did. all those years ago. Hasn't changed. It doesn't change. There's some basic principles in the industry that don't change. Products change, comp plans changes, people that own the company changes, but those principles don't change. That's why when we say, some of you might have heard, like, don't use Facebook. No, that's not what we said. Right? I don't think you can build a master distributorship on Facebook, just sitting behind your desk. What do you think? You're going to have to learn to talk to people. And there lies the problem, right? People, I was telling the group last night, it's like, there's a big secret army out there in the network marketing industry. In fact, it's bigger than the people are actually in, right? Because people, when they leave it, they go, shh, don't say anything. Their health's hurting, whatever, don't mention it. Keep it a secret. Right? Same with the business, in the business side of it. People are hurting for money. People are not telling them about Shackley. They're just saying, no, don't say anything. Just want to keep it a secret. It's like we're a big secret army. There's a lot of people out there that don't say anything because they're afraid to say something, right? They really are. And that comes from confidence or belief. And you get out of that mode by coming to events or reading books or listening to tapes and hundreds of stuff that we've been through, right?
Well, our business began growing and I was able to finish work. I've been home since our children were in kindergarten. I've been able to homeschool them all the way through to high school. They then went to a private Christian school and we paid for college because of this industry. We paid for a wedding on the beach because of Shackley. Thank you, Shackley. It's been an amazing lifestyle, and it wasn't until 2011 that we found ourselves without a company, not due to any problems that we had, but a company we were with let us down a little. It was very, very disappointing. It was unbelievably a bad time, but it was also an opportunity. It was actually the best opportunity we ever had handed to us. But we looked for 9 months to find the right company because we couldn't think of anything else we'd rather do. We couldn't go back into the workforce at that time, could never be an employee again because we'd been too long without the job, that we found finally Shackley in October 2011, right?
Yep, so we've been just 3.5 years. We're kind of babes in the business, we've had some ups and downs, just like everyone does. But things are good. Things are good. We went pretty fast, and we're trying to get a solid business established, and we still look for leaders because our next goal is senior master, right? Yeah. And so one of the things I want to do, and I've got about 8-9 minutes left here, is everything is about. You heard this weekend about the desire of the brain, right? You got that. And so why don't you write down 3 things. 3 things that you really want. Just 3 things. I mean, it has to be a longer list. I mean, I could give you 100, but 3 things that you don't want. Or 3 things that you do want, or 3 things that you don't want. So 3 things that you want and 3 things that you don't want. Because sometimes people get motivated on things that they don't want, right? So just write down 3 things. 3 things. You should be able to do that like 3. Okay?
Yeah, I believe you get motivated by the things you don't want. You get inspired by the things you do want. So they're both driving forces, and honestly, we got driven by the things we didn't want in the beginning.
So when we started, we wrote a whole list of what we wanted. And then on the other side, we said, okay, so are we serious about those things? Is those things that we really, really want? If the answer is yes, to your list that you're making, then can we get it currently doing what we're doing? And the answer was no, we couldn't. So if you're answering the same way we're answering, then what are you going to do to change? So we have to do something different, because if we continue to work a corporate job, or maybe work as a physical therapist, or whatever you do, and it doesn't get you what you want, then surely you have to change direction, don't you? Somewhere in that path of life, you have to change direction. So what are you going to do that? I'm not saying quit your job, but somewhere you've got to make some changes. And for us, we gave our kids 2 sports that they could do only. That was us. I'm telling you what we would do, right? Don't beat me up on this, right? I mean, we said 2. We didn't let our kids control us. So our kids have been to Europe 30, 40 times because we made some choices when they were very small. We never used to have, don't beat me up on this, right? If it was my son or daughter's 1-year-old birthday, and it happened to be on a weekend event, there was a convention, we had their birthday on Monday. Do you know my son is almost 30 and he doesn't remember missing his birthday on the Saturday and had it on the Monday? Now, some of you are going to disagree with that. You have to make your choice, right? Now, if it's the championship game, a one-off with your kids, then you go. Does that make sense? If I've got 30 soccer games and I miss 2, it wasn't a big deal for us. Y'all with me?
Yes.
So we had to make those choices so that our kids that like to travel with us around the globe, we've taken them to Australia and Japan and New Zealand and in Hungary and Budapest and Prague and England 30 times and Scotland. That's what we like to do. But we couldn't do it if we didn't make some choices, right? Because we didn't let them control what we were doing. Yes? No?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Right there. You know, some of you disagree, but that's what we did, right? That's what we did. So just shout out a few. Who's got 3 that'd like to share with us? Just real quick. Can you shout mine or?
Dive monthly in the Caribbean.
What was that?
Dive monthly in the Caribbean.
Okay.
I went 2016 red Corvette.
Red Corvette.
Red,
Okay.
it's gotta be red.
Okay.
It's my husband's favorite.
Right.
And husband can look like a dive.
All right, great. So you like to dive. Good. Anyone else? Just real quick. Just can you run by there, Deb, or one of the back? Oh, you got it.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Financial security, live somewhere warm, and health requirements.
Awesome. Anything you don't want? Okay. And how long, can I ask you how long you've been in Shackley?
I'm actually a guest.
That's awesome. A guest? Whoa, a guest that stands up. That's awesome. You need a sponsor or? I'm just asking. I didn't know if you were here with somebody or. Oh, you have one. I'm sorry. Okay, just in case. But if it falls through, right? It's WZ029. Just that if something happens, you know, because. Anyone else want to share real quick? Come on. All you guys should be like, put your hands like, yes, me.
Financial freedom, optimal health, freedom of choice in healthcare.
Okay? Yep, can you shout it out? Back there, sweet.
Okay, travel around the world, no debt, no worry about money, long, healthy life.
So travel the world, what does that mean? What particular place? Would that be like Alabama or? New Zealand? So see, what I try to dig out of people is like, we talk about New Zealand. So where in New Zealand? You have a map of New Zealand? So where? Wellington, Rotorua, Auckland, Christchurch, Mount Cook, shot over jet, bungee jumping off the bridge. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that people like to travel, but I try to break it down because you can have pictures of what New Zealand is like. You know, did you know there's a North and South Island? Do you know how to get there? Do you want to fly coach or you want to fly on a flatbed that gives you pajamas when you fly down to New Zealand? Or do you want to go cattle? You know what I'm saying? I always think the seats are pretty good when you can't reach the sick bag, right? Then you have a good seat. So I'm trying to define a little bit rather than just financial freedom. I'm trying to break it down so you can think bigger. Does that make sense? So if you want to go to, I mean, my goodness me, I could give you 20 places right now that we want to go to. It's not just like, I'm going to give you an example. We went to Hawaii 3 times this year already, right? And before I get to anywhere, I'm already researching like, oh, Kauai, what are we going to do in Kauai? Or we're going to Panama next year, and or England. Even though we've been to England 150, 60 times since we've been here, and 2 of our family members have never been to England, right? I'm mapping out and say, all right, we're at the Park Lane Hotel, right? We've got the green tube. I'm going to take the 4 to Chelsea football game. I've already asked Mark Evans, which is Laura Evans' husband, who has contacts at Chelsea. I've already got that underway, right? I've already got the breakfast lined up in the morning. It's £25 a day, so I managed to get a good deal on that. Then we're going to take him to the London Eye, and then go make sure we go to Trafalgar Square, down to Piccadilly. You understand?
Yeah.
I got the dream, and I got it spinning right here. Not just London, you know, Stonehenge. I mean, wherever they want to go, right? You with me? So you got to define it, what you want in detail. Yes.
Another one here.
I would like to be able to pay my last 2 children's college tuition without borrowing any money. I would like to take an oceanic cruise around the world and never have to take a Carnival cruise again. I would like to keep my large house and not have to move into a condo where my children live out so that they can come back and visit.
Awesome. This is really important. I wish I could sit down with every single one of you because you want to know the what to say, how you do it, that. You'll figure it out if your desire is big enough. Trust me, it's got to be the dream. It's got to be. Who else? Come on. Come on. Now you get, come on. I wish I could talk to every single one of you. I like to know. I get excited hearing people's dreams and desires. You can go ahead if you want. Go ahead, Ray.
Actually, just to be debt free, which we're pretty close.
So what would that do for you, debt free?
What
does that mean, debt free?
Then I wouldn't have to worry about house payments or actually working to support myself. It would be things that we could do for other people.
Okay.
Through my church or just helping other people, because right now we're just doing what you guys do.
How long have you been in tracking?
25 years.
25, that's awesome. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you've been in a month or 25 years. The great thing about this industry, you can start again tomorrow on any goal that you want to hit, right? So you're resetting that commitment level?
Yes.
Okay. What else will we do?
Build a team of leaders that work with us, like 6 to 10 leaders.
Okay. Awesome.
And my wife's been around every state except for Hawaii and I think Washington State. So I would love to travel. Just take the time to travel in an RV with her and our dog, and go to all the national parks.
Awesome. All right. This lady here, I think, yes? We got a few more, right, Jennifer? We're okay?
I would like a second home. I don't care if it's next door to my current home or in another country. I just want to live where I live because it's all family.
So you'd like pack the car up, put the suitcases in, and then drive right to the next. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? I mean, that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Now, where I live now is a 3-story, and it's my brother-in-law, his ex-wife, and us, and it's paid for.
Oh,
so
great.
I'm looking for somewhere else. I want international vacation. I want to go to Budapest, Hungary. I'd like to visit all 4 countries that offer my.
So Budapest, Hungary. Where do you want to go in Budapest, Hungary?
I don't know, but I do have pictures on my vision board. I can't name them, but I have pictures.
Do you know one side is Buda and the other side is Pest? That's why it's called Budapest. Yeah, did you know that? No, seriously, it is.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll Google it.
You don't believe it, do you? You all think I don't believe it. It's like, okay, they don't believe it. They think I'm making this stuff up. I always tell you the truth. I never lie to you or make it sound.
I would like to have $1,000 disposable income each month that I can give my mom. And I don't have children, so I'm starting to think I'm going to be pretty lonely as I grow old if I don't get some more friends. So I want to build that network.
That's great. Okay. I love this stuff. Yes, ma'am, back there. We got some people living in the ventures now. Speaking up. It's good.
Hi, my name is Noemi, and I would like to not to work for a corporation anymore, where I give my entire day life and my health there, and I don't move to anywhere. I'm not promoted, and I am hard work. So I really don't want that. For that, I came to this event, which I am very glad I came, and my goal is to help people to know how chocolate product is, and doing that, build my business, and I coach all the other people when one day I learned, first of all, to speak better English, and to be a volunteer on Latino community by giving a speech to inspire young people or whatever boards.
Awesome. And where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil.
What passion! What passion!
That's on my list. Brazil. I've never been to Brazil. We're going to go to Brazil in February next year from Panama. I'm going to stand up on that statue, the statue like this. You'll see a picture on me on Facebook right next to it. On Rio. What's wrong with that? I thought it was a good idea. That's my dream. You don't have to stand there if you don't want to.
I'll take the picture.
You go on one of those Brazilian beaches, with the thong or whatever.
ever taught 180?
So, any last one, and we're gonna wrap up? Any, real quick, okay.
One more over
One more
here.
there.
He's making me woke again. Pay off debt. We have just established a lot of it, so I want to get our credit cards paid off. We have 2 grown children, I still have 1 in high school. My second son has joined the Marines, and he is currently in Virginia in school, and we can't go see him because our finances are everything. So I want to be able to follow my kids wherever they go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay,
And then help and inspire others so that they can achieve the things that they want.
right.
And I don't want a job.
No, I know.
And to get my why and really figure it out,
Yeah.
I actually went on a job interview. I applied for a job and I went on the job interview to remind myself that.
Well, so that's awesome. I appreciate you guys being here. And, you know, people say when I talk to them about this industry, and they say, I know. I know. You ever heard that? Yeah, I know. I know. So here's what I tell them. I say, to know and not to do is not to know. You like that, Dorian, do you? It's pretty powerful, isn't it? I got a little bit of depth down there. A little bit of depth. Not all up here, right? Wow. Thank you, Doreen. To know and not to do is not to know.
It's not in your heart.
Right? Well, I'm claiming it. So guys, you got to get a desire, okay, and dream. So hopefully, you know, these couple of days, everything is great. You're not going to get motivated by or build a huge business by a bottle of Vitaly. Take that the right way. You might get in, but you won't build a business for Vitaly or MindWorks. You won't. You'll build it because you have a desire and a passion to build something big, right? And help people. Because we're in a people business, we're not in a product business. We're really not. We're in a people business. So make sure you do that. So God bless you. And anything else, Deb, last?
No, I think you said it all, but make sure you put legs on your dreams. Because otherwise they're nothing more than wishes.
And that's our dream right there. And that's what we're doing until we die. We'll see you later.
Oh my goodness. Just so everybody knows, Budapest is 2 sides, Buddha and Pest, so we all looked it up over there. We couldn't believe it. We did. We thought you made that up. That sounded crazy. Now, did that sound crazy? I mean, oh my goodness, it has been an absolutely fantastic weekend, has it not? You start putting all the stickers together, you hope that it meshes as well as it meshed today. I mean, it's absolutely, the message I hope was driven home, and I'm going to end today. I'm actually going to speak for a few minutes, so we're not packing up just yet. I'm going to speak for just a couple minutes here. I had a couple things that I wanted to end with and just share. You know, people always want to know all of the how-tos, you know, all of this stuff here, the 8-step pattern, and the reason we stepped away from that for this meeting was really because of what Tony said. You have to get inspired. It's about the stories. It's all the stories that you heard here. It's not about all these details. Because, you know, the knowing person wants to learn every little detail and every script and exactly what to say, exactly what all the ingredients are in the products before they go out and do anything. And really what gets us out there talking to people is the desire and the inspiration, this dream we were sharing earlier. When you get up every morning and you think about whether to see all the national parks or to be completely out of debt, you know, all of those reasons that you'll make it happen. You don't even have to have this written down. You guys know this. Good grief, this is the 8-step pattern. We've been over it and over it and over it. You don't need to take a picture of that. But no, the greens, the detail people, both like, gotta get that down because I gotta remember to talk about their dream. And you know, no, I don't want you getting caught up in this. I want you to walk away from this weekend with inspiration and just a drive and a desire to do something different. You know, when we came into the business, when Dan and I got started, we really were doing it initially just because we had the income need. You know, we were financially in a place where we needed the income. And it changed for us. When Dan actually got the corporate job that he was really passionate about and excited to go back into the workforce for, I had to have that come to Jesus moment of, why am I still building this business? Why would I continue to do this when he was back in the workplace? And I had it, so it was inside of me. Shackley was in me at that point. And I was so passionate about helping people every day improve their health and also improve their wealth. And I got a much bigger picture of what lifestyle could be like. The more I traveled with Shackley, the more I got to hear the stories of all the people whose lives were transformed with Shackley. We have a lot of master coordinators in this room this weekend. Some have already left. Barb Lagoni had to leave, unfortunately. And Gary and Faye were driving 6.5 hours today, also left. Look at the other masters in the room, just stand for a second. We've got quite a few in the room. So we've got the Underwoods, we've got the Cashes, we have the Limers, we have Ron and Allen, and these are people who have transformed people's lives. They've transformed lots and lots and lots of people's lives. And that's really what gets me excited. When I look in this room and I see and I hear the stories and I hear the inspiration, Mary Ann, hearing you get up here and share, and I've been on this journey with you from when you were struggling as a director, and when you all of a sudden had that moment when you were so coachable. It's almost like you're like putty, and I know the Cashes have been working with you, and I've been working with you, and it's just been amazing to see you blossom and grow and build what you've built, and just change the lives that you've changed. And that's really what this business is all about. I want every single person in this room to have somebody standing on the stage and sharing their story of transformation, like what you heard Mary Ann share. And that's really what I believe building a master coordinatorship is all about. Yes, we can have all of our dreams come true, but it's when you help all of your people's dreams come true that it transforms your life as well. So you find people to partner with. And I thought I would ask you this question since I knew what Gary was going to talk about. But how many directors are you going to build every single year? That's something, just an idea to be thinking about as you leave from this weekend. How many directors are you going to build every single year and make that your commitment, that no matter what happens, that's the number of directors you're going to develop every single year? It comes down to the discipline of those small daily steps. And I've actually been doing Bikram yoga here for a while. Some of you have heard a little bit about these stories. I don't know how many of you know what Bikram yoga is. It was the one yoga I could find that didn't have all the spiritual connections and spiritual pieces, so I was very comfortable going there to do the stretching and the exercise. You go into a hot yoga studio, it's 105 degrees with 40% humidity, and you work out there for 90 minutes. And so, my friend said to me, hey, you want to go to hot yoga one day? And I said, sure. I had no idea what I was walking into. And I walked into the room and I said, I can't breathe. And I couldn't breathe in the room. And she said, oh, just stay in the room, don't leave. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so you're watching people do stuff like this. There's 26 poses. And you see people do the perfect eagle, and you see somebody do the perfect standing wolf, floating pose. And then you have me not able to even get my legs off the ground or standing there like, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? But you know what? I've been going now for a year, about a year. Actually, I think it's a year this weekend. Because it was Father's Day weekend when I went last time, and Father's Day is tomorrow. And I've been going, and I've been taking those small steps where, my poses are getting better and better. And I can breathe in the room now. I can actually stay there for the whole time. I can actually stand up and do all the poses for the whole 90 minutes. But it's all those small steps. And I thought, just going through that journey personally, it's the same type of journey we go through in Shackley. It was what Gary was saying. You just have to, you're going to be bad for a while at some of these things. You have to learn how to do this. But if I didn't stay in the room and keep going, I wouldn't learn how to do the poses, right? I wouldn't get more and more flexible. I wouldn't heal my knees like the doctor or the teacher keeps telling me I'm going to be healing my knees. I have no idea how with some of these poses, but and so she keeps telling me. And it's just interesting to see how that correlates with Shackley, though. You have to get out there, you have to talk to the people, and you have to do it bad long enough to get good, right? Do it bad long enough to get good. So we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence that is not an act, but a habit. And I love that quote. I've actually put it on Facebook a number of times. It's one of my favorite quotes because it really is about those small steps that we're taking over and over and over again. And we just keep trying to get better and better, right? Each time you pick up the phone, hopefully you don't keep saying over and over again, hey, I sell Shackley, do you want to buy some? We said don't do that over and over and over again. So when you find yourself doing that, you say, okay, I shouldn't do that. And then you pick up the phone the next time and you do it again, you go, okay, I really shouldn't do that. At some point, you're going to stop doing it, right? At least that's the hope. Now I'm going to end here with a story, and I think some of you probably have heard a little bit about this story. I don't know if you know about Hunter Treschel. He's one of the two teens who had his arm bit off by a shark last Sunday. Okay, I'm not sure if everybody was aware of that tragedy that happened in North Carolina. I was listening to Caleb the other day. It's a radio station, it's a Christian radio station. So that's all I have on my radio. And I was listening to it, and they had an interview with him. They shared his words, and they were so powerful, so I thought I would read them here. He said, I was just in about waist-deep water playing with my cousin, and I felt this kind of hit on my left leg, like it was a big fish coming near you or something. Then it just kind of hit my arm. That was when I first saw it, when it was biting up my left arm. His arm had to be amputated below the shoulder. He said, I've lost my arm, obviously, so I have kind of two options. I can try to live my life the way I was and make an effort to do that even though I don't have an arm, or I can just kind of let this be completely debilitating and bring my life down and ruin it. Hunter said he chooses to fight and live a normal life despite losing his arm. He's working to stay positive, he said. And he's currently recovering in North Carolina. And what I thought was really powerful about that story was that he took something that could be perceived as such a major tragedy. Can you imagine having your arm cut off at 16 years old? And so many people, that would be the end, right? You can't do anything. And his first reactions in the moment are that he's going to fight for living a normal life. And he's going to live a normal life. And if he believes that, he absolutely will. So when you think about it in terms of a Shackley distance, and obviously the things that happen to us are not as bad as having your arm bit off. But you think about it, someone quits or somebody hangs up on you. I've had people swear at me on the phone and tell me never to call about Shackley again. I've had shows where I flew across the country, flew to California, and the lady we had everything planned until I showed up, and then she probably did leave her home, or she had all the window shades closed and just answered the door when I was knocking and ringing the doorbell. I'll never forget calling Jan and saying, I'm in California. I flew out there for these in-homes for her, and she's nowhere to be found. I couldn't get hold of her. She didn't answer the phone until she thought I was on the plane and that the plane had taken off, the plane had a delay. That was when she called. She thought she knew my itinerary, and that was when she called, was when she thought my phone would be turned off when I was on the plane. And lo and behold, I answered. I was not very happy, let me tell you. And needless to say, she didn't ever call the business, and I didn't go back to California for her. But you learn from those experiences, and those are the bad things, right? Those are the tragedies, those are the curveballs that life throws us. But we can choose to live the life we want to live. Everybody in here has a drive or a desire. Tony and Debbie could have gone around the entire room, and everybody has some things written down. I believe. I hope everybody wrote some things down that you want in your life. And you have the choice. Shackley can be your vehicle to change and transform your life in ways that you can't even imagine. The life that you want to live right now and those dreams that you put down on paper, they're going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you make those things come true. And you're going to transform a lot of lives along the way. I feel so blessed to be here with each and every one of you. I always look out at the team, and I'm just so excited to be in partnership with all of you building Shackley. This type of an event would never, ever happen without all of the team members who've helped to participate. So I just want to give a couple of shout-outs before we wrap up here. Brooke, thank you so much for being our AV person. Absolutely appreciate you. I had a lot of help getting set up. Bob, where are you? Bob Copo. Bob builds our screen here in the back, and he puts everything together and runs around and does all of the stuff. So Bob, thank you, thank you. Denise and Teresa and Liz and Jan, and of course Dan. Sharon Porter for the photo booth in the back. All of our speakers. Where's Ruth, who helped me iron? Thank you, Ruth. Oh my goodness, thank you for everybody to make this event possible, because without each and every one of you, we wouldn't be here. So we're going to have our event next January. Of course, we're going to see all of you in Cleveland. I hope that all of the fathers in the room have an absolutely fantastic Father's Day. Thank you so much, and God bless. We'll see you guys soon.